Hi everyone, Conrad Angel Corral here for your CCTV. Back in April of this year, many of you saw a segment that we did featuring the Coachella Valley mask makers who were showing all of us how to make face masks without sewing, and they put out a call for volunteers. And many of you came forward. We thought this would be a great opportunity to check in with the group. Welcome, Coachella Valley mask makers. Hello to you one and all. Let me do a quick introduction so that our viewers know who everybody is. We have Shelly Bloom. Then we have Kay Gearhart. Kay, if you give us a little wave. And then we also have Judy Britt. And last but not least, not pictured here, is the individual who became the local community spokesperson. And we'll talk about that person in just a few minutes. So first of all, welcome to everybody. And let's go ahead and start with Shelly, if you don't mind, because Shelly, you and I have somewhat of a relationship because we did our segment together. So let's talk about that. How did this mask makers come to be? What was your goal? And did you reach that goal?
This started out with a request from Dr. Rick Loftus, looking ahead and saying, we're going to have a shortage of PPE. We're going to need some face masks as well as some other things. But he sent out a list and he asked me to take a look at it, see if there was something on there that we could help with. So I said, yeah, let's take a stab at the masks. So I started doing some research back and forth with him on, what we could do. We built a criteria. It had to be materials that were that we could find here in the Valley, supply chain sustainable. Finally settled on a pattern and a material. And just then is when I met you guys. And Kay was on board. She kind of took it from there out into the greater community.
Well, Shelly, let me ask this question. So what was the goal of the group? Did you have a number of masks that you were going to try to hit?
Sorry about that. Yes, we did. Our goal was 1,000 masks a day. Just a quick figure that if we had 200 volunteers willing to make 5 masks a day, we could hit that number. So that became our goal. How
many volunteers did you end up getting?
Kay's going to be better at answering that. Okay. That was hers.
Let's go to Kay. Kay, you're the gal with the numbers. How many volunteers ended up coming forward?
Oh my goodness. Well, in the very first week, we had over 800 people respond to our request for volunteers. And soon thereafter, we had over 1,000 volunteers coming forward and wanting to volunteer making masks for us. It was absolutely incredible.
That's really amazing. Great. So let me ask Judy. So Judy, it's my understanding, as Kay just mentioned, it started as individuals being able to come in, and then some policies or some rules came about. And so you had to kind of pivot from doing it one way to now reaching out to country clubs or other groups. What was that about? How did that come to be?
Well, honestly, I saw your piece with Kay and Shelly on, I believe it was a Monday night. And I wrote an email to Kay. She responded. And then we talked on the phone. And I said, quite honestly, I have a big group of friends here and a big community in PGA West. And I know instead of all of us coming to pick up kits at Freedom Park, can I come, if I find out how many people want to help, can I come get kits for everybody? And that progressed into me when I sent out a mass email to my friends, and Kay explained all the different parts people could help with this. By the next morning, I had basically 90 emails from people that I know. The other silver lining, if you will, on this, especially for me, was meeting beside Kay and Shelly, which was fabulous, but then also meeting some of these other people in the other communities, starting out to create friendships. And even in my own community, meeting lots of new people. And that's what everybody has said about who's ever joined, that they've all met other people that they didn't know. And again, you have a common cause that you're all working for. So it's been great for that.
They say we're in this together. It's definitely true.
Yeah, no, it's been great. And one of the groups did a little song, and because they were excited about it, it was basically mask instead of matchmaker, they sang to mask maker. Again, everybody's coming up with fun ways to take part, and I also have to say that everybody's had a prideful experience. They've all been excited about the fact that they feel good about what they did.
Well, Judy, Judy, I can hear right now in my head, mask makers.
That's what it is.
I would love for us to see this video with this special individual that you all became associated with, who helped you with this event. So, Shelley, can you tell us who the individual was?
You're talking about Lucie Arnaz?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So we were in our very early stages. It was probably the day after we filmed the first time. And I got a phone call from Jim Lapidus. I didn't know him. He introduced himself. And he said he was calling on behalf of Lucie Arnaz. He's like, yeah, Lucie Arnaz. She wants to know how she can help.
Wow.
And then he said, is it okay to give her your phone number and her call you? And she called me like a half hour later. And we talked. And she said she wanted to help in some way. She wasn't crafty. And she couldn't sew. But she was a heck of a networker.
Right.
So she said, I'd like to go to work seeing about hitting my networks and raising some money.
Well, that's great. And so let's do this. I was very fortunate to get an interview with Lucie. Let's take a look at that interview right now, and then we'll talk again on the other side.
Awesome.
Lucie Arnaz, hello to you. How are you?
Good, Conrad. Thank you very much for inviting me on.
Our pleasure. Welcome to CCTV.
Thank you.
So today we are talking with the organizers of the Coachella Valley Mask Makers. Before we get there, I have a quick question for you. How are you and your husband, your kids, how are you all doing with this stay-at-home experience that we're all going through?
Yeah, we're doing fine. We're doing fine. I have one of those little things like, if you're on a desert island and you have a chip and you can mark little things on a log and then go like this. I'm actually doing that on a piece of paper on a wall somewhere. How many days that we've been in doing this. But Larry and I are doing fine.
Why don't you tell us, if you would, how did you become associated with this group?
Well, we have a doctor here in Coachella Valley at Eisenhower who was our first primary care doctor when we moved here 7 years ago. Dr. Richard Loftus, and he's all involved in infectious diseases and things, but when the COVID thing happened, they put him in charge of the whole unit at Eisenhower. And so he had this lady, a friend of his, who's an activist in the Valley, whose name is Shelley.
Correct.
Shelley Bloom. And Shelley, she's a teacher. She's a teacher. And she said, well, I can sew and I'll get some people. So Shelley Bloom, Angel of Angels, gathered some gals and guys together and started sewing masks. But it was small, and they needed a lot bigger thing and they needed more money and they needed. So he said, can you help me? You know everybody. And I went like, I don't know. And I'm in my house. How can I do this? And, but I love this man. So I made a couple calls. You call the people that you trust, that you love. Jim Lapidus, who is a costumer here in the Valley. And he made a couple calls. He called Frank Cazares, who's the costumer at CVRep and who did ballroom. And then Frank's partner in real life is the partner at the Purple Room. And so the Purple Room got involved in Michael Holmes. And then the Inland Empire through Jeremy Hobbs, who is his partner, who runs the Purple Room with Michael, got involved. And we got a website through the Inland Empire. We got someone to actually write checks once the money came in through Des Art Performs and Michael over there. And it started to snowball with people saying, okay, saying yes. And then I got my friend John Monahan involved, who owns the 500 building in the middle of Palm Springs, right? That wonderful building.
Yes.
He's one of the nicest and most generous people we have in the Valley. He supports all kinds of wonderful causes and theater and stuff. And he said, would you like me to sort of help you task force this? Like, I can put my building at work and I can maybe turn a room into a cutting thing and Jim can cut fabric and Frank and we could, oh, sure. Are you kidding? And then he just started running it like a pro, like only John Monahan can do. And he contacted Shelley and they coordinated that Shelley and her girls are going to do the masks. They began to do some masks, and then they went, Shelley can do the masks. We're going to do gowns. What they really need is gowns, the hospital gowns, disposable hospital gowns. And I don't even know what the number is now. He said he would give me an update from today. But the last time I checked, which was over 2 weeks ago, there was something like 14,000 hospital gowns that they had sewed in that place.
That's amazing.
It's got to be 25,000 by now. And so he turned the whole building basically into a command center. The volunteers, which I think there are over 400 volunteers, men and women, who are contacted by Jim Lapidus and the people at the 500 Club, and he coordinates all of them, and they drive, or he takes it to them if they can't get there, pick up their little bags, reach out of the car, here's my bag, take it home, sew it, put it back in the bag, take it back to the 500 where they are quality checked, right? Make sure they're done right and everything. And then another volunteer drives them to the hospital every single day.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I think we talked about this a bit earlier. It takes a village to do this. People have to come together to want to do it. And this is kind of what happens.
The thing is, we were sitting at home, for a long time. A lot of people complaining that, they're bored to death. They're just like, if I have to stay in this house, how can I help? There's no way to help. I feel so like I can't do anything. There is a way to help, whether you can sew or not. That's why Shelley said, contact us, fill out this little questionnaire. Can you do this? What's your talent about that? Can you drive? Can you pick up? Can you sew? Can you buy fabric? Can you get us fabric? Can you make a donation? Can you do something to make it feel like you had some ownership in getting us through this, right?
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. Good health to you and your family.
Thank you very much. Stay well, everybody.
Gals, it looks like you got Lucie Arnaz as a worthy. Would you call her a spokesperson, or what kind of title would you give her?
Kay and I asked if she would just like to be our media spokesperson. We would really appreciate if she would do that for us when she was offering some help, and she agreed to do that. Great.
Well, she's definitely a worthy person to be a media spokesperson with. Where is the group now? What's happening with the Coachella Valley mask makers?
We're on our wrap up. We are finishing up what materials we have in stock with the masks and the kits. Those have gone out. We'll collect those completed. But other than that, we're wrapped.
And who can answer for me how many? So we know you ended up getting around 1,000 volunteers very, very quickly. So that is amazing. How many masks do you know? Did you end up making? Did anybody have a number on that?
Yes, I do. As of today, because they're still, Indian Wells Golf Club has been amazing and supportive. We are close to 90,000 masks as of today.
Wow, 90,000 masks.
Yeah.
Yes. And am I correct that initially these masks were going to local healthcare providers, and then did they start going to other individuals also?
Initially, the first 30,000 went to Eisenhower Medical Center, as well as Coachella Valley Volunteers in Medicine and local nursing homes, skilled nursing facilities, and assisted living facilities. Mm-hmm. After that, donations went to those organizations that had requested them, such as Habitat for Humanity, also the Galilee Center, Martha's Village and Kitchen, Coachella Valley Rescue Mission, and many others as well.
So you really reached out, really branched out to try to help as many people as possible who might need the masks.
Absolutely.
I want to yes, Shelley.
I would like to say we would be really remiss if we didn't add this, yes. But I want you guys to know that your video,
yes,
that you provided us, absolutely launched us and was the critical element of getting all these volunteers together. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for that. We want you to know that.
It was our pleasure. We wanted to do as much as we could for the community. So I thank you on behalf of the community. I appreciate you thanking us. This is just proof, once again, that our Coachella Valley is a small little group of individuals, all very willing at any time to come forward and to help each other. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it's a great meeting you all finally. One of these days soon, we'll actually be able to say hello to each other in each other's actual same space.
That'd be great.
I'm Conrad Angel Corral, and this is your CCTV.